BTS Jungkook's golden years. It all changed because of this one thing. Not all years are created equal in a star's journey. There are years that only fill the calendar, and there is one year that changes everything. For BTS's Jungkook, many observers, fans, and even the global music industry are beginning to dare to call one phase in his life a golden year. It's not because BTS's popularity is new. It's not because BTS is suddenly known to the world. It's because this year Jungkook looks completely changed, more mature, be bolder, more true to himself. For many years, Jungkook was known as the Golden Magne, the youngest figure who could do everything perfectly. Sing, dance, write songs, to perform on the world stage without a gap. But it is precisely behind that perfection. Many do not realize that Jungkook has been walking with one big burden. Expectations. Expectations from the industry, from the public, from fans, and perhaps most heavily, from himself. Then something happened. It didn't explode like a scandal. It does not appear as an open conflict. It was not announced at a press conference. But the change is felt. Slow down. In his way of speaking. In his way of choosing words. In his way of standing on the stage. One thing changed everything. Jungkook finally chose to be himself, completely, without a mask, and the year that is now referred to as his golden year. Jungkook no longer appears as the magne who always has to be strong. He is present as an adult human being who understands limits, understands wounds, and understands the meaning of silence. The music he makes sounds more personal. Her voice is not only beautiful, but honest. Each note seemed to carry a story about fatigue that he never told, about loneliness unseen behind the cheers of the stadium, and about the courage to say, "I am also human." The industry responded quickly. Streaming numbers are soaring, not just because of BTS' big name, but because listeners feel connected. Jungkook's songs are no longer just heard, but felt. Many said it was the first time Jungkook had actually sung for himself, rather than to meet the expectations of others. And strangely enough, it was precisely when he stopped trying to please everyone that the world drew closer to him. The change was also visible on stage. Jungkook no longer looks in a hurry to prove anything. His movements are calmer, his gaze is deeper. He did not pursue the cheers because the cheers came by themselves. The aura that emanates is no longer the ambition of young people who want to be recognized, but the calmness of someone who is at peace with himself. Many longtime fans noticed one thing in common. Jungkook seemed happier. Not a happy noise, but a happy silence. Happiness that doesn't need to be expressed. Happiness is born from a big decision that is rarely talked about. The decision to stop living as just a symbol and start living as a human being. That one thing changed everything. Not an award, not a record, not popularity, but rather the courage to be honest with yourself. In an industry that often demands false perfection, Jungkook chooses honesty. And it is precisely that honesty that makes this year feel different from all previous years. Music observers call this phase a turning point. Jungkook is no longer seen as just part of BTS, but as an artist with a strong identity. It does not leave its group, does not strip it of its history, but it stands in line with its past, not in its shadow. This is not rebellion, but evolution. What makes this year even more referred to as the golden year is its impact that goes beyond music. Jungkook became a mirror for many young people who felt tired of always having to look strong. He did not preach. He did not give a motivational speech. It only shows one simple but rare thing. That it's okay to slow down, it's okay to be honest, and it's okay to choose yourself in the midst of a noisy entertainment world. Jungkook shines precisely because of his calmness. He no longer pursues the light, for he has become the light itself. And maybe that's why this year is called his golden year. Not because things got easy, but because Jungkook ended up walking without fear of losing himself. If previous years were all about proof, then this year is all about meaning. About a boy who grew up under the spotlight of the world, now stands as an adult man who knows who he is and where he wants to step. And when an artist reaches that point, the world can only do one thing. Keep up. Jungkook's golden years are not the end of the story. Precisely this is the beginning of the most honest, the most courageous and the most human chapter of his life. And perhaps, for the first time, Jungkook was not only heard by the world, but truly understood. But what makes this phase feel deeper is how Jungkook faces his own past. He does not reject it, does not erase it, nor does he cover it with a false smile. A childhood that grew up too soon, a debut in his teens, a huge responsibility to the group, family, and the BTS name, all of that now feels present in every decision he makes. Jungkook seemed to say without words that all wounds are real, and that is precisely where his strength is born. Behind the camera, many are beginning to realize the small changes that mean big. The way Jungkook talks about music is different now. He no longer simply calls a good song or a successful performance, but speaks of feelings, of long nights, of silence that is often noisier than applause. There's a growing emotional maturity, and it feels honest, raw, at the same time beautiful. This golden year is also marked by how Jungkook treats his time. He no longer looks in a hurry to always appear, always be there, always meet the expectations of the public. His absence makes his presence even more meaningful. Every appearance feels chosen, not forced. Every work feels thought out, not pursued by a mere deadline. In a world that worships relentless productivity, Jungkook chooses quality and meaning. The fans who had followed his journey from the beginning felt mixed emotions. There is a sense of pride in seeing Jungkook grow, but also a sense of being aware of how hard the road he has gone through. Many said that Jungkook this year feels closer, more human, as if the distance between the idol and the audience is getting thinner. He does not get off the stage to be ordinary, but elevates his audience to the same emotional space. And therein lies Jungkook's greatest strength in his golden years. He does not rely on sensations. It doesn't need controversy. It is not necessary to prove anything with shouts. His silence speaks louder than any marketing strategy. The world listened as Jungkook finally spoke from the most honest place. His own heart. Many industry analysts say that what Jungkook is doing is risky. Being too honest can be fragile. Too human can be considered weak. But that's exactly where the paradox is. When Jungkook stops hiding behind the perfect image, he becomes stronger than ever. The public did not leave. They actually last longer. This golden year is not about glittering peaks, but rather about solid foundations. Jungkook is not running towards the end, but is preparing for a long journey. He did not burn himself for a moment's light, but learned to keep a small fire that could last a long time. A maturity rarely possessed by those who grew up under the spotlight from a very young age. If pulled to one point, the one thing that changes everything is Jungkook's courage to stop fighting himself. He no longer forces himself to be the version that others expect. He chose to be the version he could live every day without losing his breath. And the choice, although silent, resonated with the whole world. Now, when people say Jungkook's name, what comes to mind is not just a golden voice or a perfect dance. The imagined is the journey. About a child who grows too fast, falls silently, gets up slowly, and finally stands with his head held high, not because the world asks for it, but because he is ready to. BTS Jungkook's golden year is not a fairy tale that suddenly happened. It's the result of wounds that aren't on display, tears that aren't shown, and lonely decisions taken away from the camera's spotlight. And perhaps that's precisely why this year feels so worthwhile. Because for the first time, Jungkook not only shines as a global star, but as a whole human being. And the world, unknowingly, has been waiting for that moment for a long time.